Ball up!
I've never seen anything like it before, and to attempt to hit the ball out of there is pure madness.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
This is the one that I've always wanted to win since I was a little kid. So it just feels pretty amazing to be able to get it done today.
It's amazing that it's my destiny to be the first Aussie to win. Just incredible.
Hello and welcome to episode 29 of Playing from the Tips, Golf Australia magazine's preview and tipping podcast covering the vast world of professional golf around the world. Jimmy Emanuel here in the host chair after a week off on the injured list, and happy to see the studio hasn't burnt down in my absence and some decent results were put on the tipping results board. It's a fairly light week for tournaments after the conclusion of the PGA Tour's FedEx Cup on Sunday in Atlanta, but the golf goes on, and so do we, with the Omega European Masters and Portland Classic on the LPGA Tour. Joining on the journey this week is the man who stepped into the host chair last week and performed like Brad Hughes on sick relief at the President's Cup. Oh. Rod Morrie, welcome.
Playing with Nick Price, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a deep cut.
Yeah. That is a deep cut, but it's good.
It's a deep cut. No, it's very good. I'm happy to be Brad Hughes. What a golf swing, what a player.
Yeah.
One of those genuinely hurt by the move away from the persimmon-headed driver.
That's right. Now a great coach.
Now a great coach. Missed out on his tour card one year by $26.50. Can you imagine that? And for a bloke with 1,000 children, that hurts.
If there was a President's Cup team for podcasting, you might make it.
Ooh.
You'd make it on points, actually.
You think?
He'd be automatic selection.
You think?
Yeah.
We'll go through that one day. I think
Golf
you're off.
podcasting.
I think you're off there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't make it
Golf.
right.
You know Leo Laporte, but
Okay.
No, Leo Laporte.
Next
up,
up,
Jimmy, I thought you'd been eaten by a crocodile. I was worried about you.
I was worried about me too. I can tell you the Palmerston Base Hospital is not the place to spend your nights when you're in Darwin.
there wasn't enough left of him to be crocodile food.
You got thrown back.
There's some quite good stuff about that up there, actually. That other voice you can hear is the mercurial tipster of world golf, who, if winning tips counted as fully fledged tournament wins, would be a lay-down misère for PGA Tour Player of the Year. Yeah. Adrian Logue.
I've reached double figures, I believe.
Have you?
10 wins, yeah.
Well, you did have 2 wins, I think, and then I was off
ago.
Conveniently.
Yep.
He lives for the big events, designated events only for Logue.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm on the elite player schedule.
Yeah. I'm the only one who's won majors here, I think.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
let's not talk big events and ignore that.
Okay, fair cop.
Okay.
I'll just be quiet over here while you winners talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, you're a solid performer. Brad Hughes didn't win any majors, but he consistently performed.
Brad, I'm apologising on Jimmy's behalf if you're listening.
I apologise too, Brad. I like
He's one of the good guys at World Golf, for sure.
Before we move ahead, some reflections on last week. Victor Hovland winning eye-watering money that does nothing for him. Megan Kang breaking through, and probably most amazingly, a 10-hole playoff on the Asian Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Hovland that stood out for me. I like him because he's such a good character for the game in every way and always has been. Had issues with his chipping, always managed to laugh at himself, really self-effacing. Just a genuinely good dude. And, of course, the money comment that's gone viral. He lives in Stillwater, Oklahoma. That tells you everything you need to know, doesn't he? He hasn't bolted for Florida and the tax haven. Yeah, I know that, but it's like he hasn't bolted for the tax haven of Florida and done all that sort of stuff. He just seems a good dude, and that's good for the game.
Likeable, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's good for the game.
What are the taxes like in Norway?
They'd be pretty heavy.
Very high.
I'd say that is huge,
Nordic
right?
countries, yeah.
Still goes back and spends time in Norway with his mates and just hangs out too.
Yep.
Aussie caddy too, Shane Knight of
Shane
Camaret Golf Club and the Australian Golf Club, who's probably
going to say
you can hear his voice a few times on the coverage. Actually,
he's a great guy, Shay, cool. And he really.
You know him from when you were young.
Yeah, when I was a kid, he was a bit older than me, but a bit of a superstar, and really good player. And went over there and had some good bags and stuff, but just a really good guy.
I would think. I don't know Shay, but I would think that an Australian attitude would suit Victor very nicely in times of stress and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Did they meet when Victor came to play the Australian Open at the Lakes?
No, I think it was set up by someone when he turned pro.
Oh, okay.
So Shay had been out caddying on tour for a while.
Yep.
And they were looking for a caddy for Victor when he turned pro after winning the USAM, and someone said, give this guy a try, and they really gelled.
Really overlooked part of the professional journey, isn't it? There's a lot of players you look at a couple of years down the track and think, just if they just got themselves a professional caddy, there's a Min Woo is one that springs to mind, Todd Sennett is another. Yep. Guys with incredible game, it's just that last piece of the puzzle. We saw what happened for Adam Scott when Steve Williams got on the bag. It was that last piece of the puzzle.
Brooks Koepka and Ricky Elliott.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most underrated partnerships. Ricky Elliott is elite and has done so much for Brooks, and there's a lot of guys like that out there.
They get more profile than they used to, the caddies, and you listen to John Wood and Bones Mackay on the coverage, they're the best voices by far, them and Dottie Pepper, I think.
Yeah.
And you suddenly see why caddies can be the difference between, when you're talking about a shot a week, caddy can save you a shot a week, then, it's the difference between winning and finishing second. So, terrific. I thought that was really good for golf, Victor.
I just want to mention Megan Kang as well, because I think it was good to see her get a win.
Yeah.
But just quietly, she's maybe, she's in the conversation of the top 2 or 3 American players at the moment.
Absolutely she is.
And has been for a long time, actually.
Is a really good player to watch too, in that he final round yesterday and playoff as well. Hit a couple of different shots off the tee with driver to intentionally get some run outs and stuff like that to get it further. Doesn't carry it a long way.
Proper golfer.
Proper golf. Yeah. Really. And the shot she hit into the 72nd hole in regulation to make a birdie to tie Jin Young Ko was really, really impressive. No one got it back to that back left flag all day, and she just stood up and hit it.
Especially after leaking oil on the back nine.
That's right.
5-shot lead.
But she looked really rattled. She was stepping away. She was taking moments to herself, and it was 8 years out there, hadn't won, highly touted.
Is this the one that opens the floodgates? You see
she would be a player I'd expect to win consistently after winning once. Yeah.
But the open floodgates thing just doesn't happen these
Pretty
days.
rare.
Not
because
on the
there's just too many players bobbing
the
up.
LPGA especially,
It's just a redundant conversation.
And Gabby Ruffles calling a penalty on herself.
Shame on you.
Yeah. Gabby Ruffles calling a penalty on herself before the final round and
round 3.
Going close to costing herself a top 10, which she needed to keep getting her more starts this week and stuff like that. So
you like to see that. That says a good thing about a player, I think.
The old you're congratulating me for not cheating, but good on Gabby. Speaking of last week, there were 5 top 10s added to the tally. No winners, however, so the yearly tallies moved to 150 top 10s and 20 winners. Let's jump into this week. And first, we're going to look at one of the genuine highlights of the European calendar for views, golf, history, bit of everything. One of our favourite Twitter followers, Ricky Bush, called it yesterday the 5th major.
Ooh, big.
I think that's probably overstating, perhaps.
Competitive category.
But it is one of those events that really stands out, and that is, of course, the DP World Tour's Omega European Masters at Crans-sur-Sierre. And Logue, this tournament screams Logue. So why don't you give us some details?
It's got that European styling, hasn't it, that just sits so comfortably on Logue.
Big watch sponsor as well.
Yeah. Are you an Omega guy? Omega?
I've got one, yeah.
Omega or Omega?
Omega. Yeah.
Did you just fudge that?
I was somewhere in between there.
Yeah, nice.
Founded as the Swiss Open in 1923, this tournament has been held at Crans-sur-Sierre since 1939.
Wow.
And it's been an institution on the DP World Tour. It's been with the European Tour since its inception in 1972. It's been a part of the tour.
I didn't realise the history went back that far.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's all the greats go back that far. Thurston Lawrence is defending champion. Thriston, sorry, yes.
Always looks like he's misspelled his name, doesn't it? I reckon they misspelled it on the birth certificate. Just said, leave it.
That's one of those ones you get wrong early writing about him. First time he wins, and you never get wrong.
No liquid paper. Just leave it as Thriston.
I've even got it written properly here. Matt Fitzpatrick is in the field, and he's won twice. And I do think the course fit for a Matt Fitzpatrick type player is quite good.
He was Scott Henn's tormentor.
Yes.
Every
2
year.
playoffs in a row.
2 playoffs in a row he beat Andy Porrell.
And weirdly, I don't think Scott Henn's a great fit for this course, but
he loves it.
He does love it.
His wife used to go over and caddy for him there each year.
And
didn't he rake his own bunker in the playoff?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
because his wife was caddying and it was deep, and it was like, that's all right, love, I'll get it.
Yeah, I think it shows what a player enjoying a place can do, because I just don't think it suits his game at all.
You're right. You're 100% right.
It nullifies his length and everything. And why is that? It's at altitude, and it's also quite short. So, a long player like Scott Hendon, he's one of the longest out there, is just with no advantage to that at all. It's all about greens in regulation, accuracy, and a lot of scrambling, because the greens are very small. So you're going to miss a lot of greens. A lot of upturned sources, the greens. Speaking of the course, I prepared something special for
Fills
this week.
me with dread and
This is a
excitement.
visual gag.
Overnight, no visual gag. Overnight, I reached out to none other than the world's leading critic of Crans, Mike Clayton.
He doesn't hate it completely.
No, he has some positive things to say.
He loves playing there.
And I said, can you give me a comment about Crans that I can repeat on air?
Has he finished yet?
And so he proceeded to say, my last year there was the last one they played before Seve redid it. And he apparently didn't improve it, which would be hard to imagine.
Too much Clates is never enough.
It was almost at the end of the era of signing famous golf pros as architects, assuming they knew something about the subject. The following 25 years has been a real blessing where we've dropped that assumption. Specifically back to Crans, he says it's perhaps the biggest gap in golf between the views, including the experience of playing in a beautiful place, and the quality of the architecture. Some holes are irredeemable, but there's a bunch which could be much better than they are. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And he ends on a very positive. He says, it makes for a great beginner's ski field in the winter.
Yeah, it's a ski field.
Which is what they do with it.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Mike Clayton.
He's not the captain negative everybody thinks he is, Clates. He's actually got a very balanced and interesting view about golf.
I've spoken to him I've spoken to him more about Crans than probably most golf courses. Yeah. It's a favourite topic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
There's been an incredible list of winners at this event. Thomas Bjorn, there's some more recent ones. Thomas Bjorn, Jimenez, Colin Montgomery, Luke Donald, Sergio Garcia, Lee Westwood. But then going right back to Clates' era with Valdo, Seve was a multiple winner here.
Didn't he hit the shot?
That was correct. That was at this tournament. Elazabal, Woosnam, Els, all the greats have won there. Of the field this week, there's a lot of interest with the potential for some of the players looking to get into the Ryder Cup. There's a lot of the bubble players, Bob McIntyre being one. I'm going to pick another Ryder Cup bubble player. Yannick Paul is my pick.
Good call.
Good call. Played well last week. Good Paul.
Yeah.
Good Paul.
He's an elite Paul, I would say. I like it. There's a strong Aussie connection here as well before I get your tip, Rodney. Kel Nagel, Randall Vines, Graham Marsh and Brett Rumford all won here.
Randall Vines.
Well, I think he might have won twice.
Australian PGA winner as well.
Correct. That's
Masters? Right. Did he win one of the Australian Masters?
No, I don't think the Australian Masters was around at Randall Vines' period.
No.
Stack of runners up as well. But it was until this morning that Jason Scrivener was actually our only player in the field this week.
Really?
Who was actually disqualified in the Czech Republic last week, and I'm not sure why. I haven't been able to find out. But Blake Windred has just been added. He was first alternate, so he gets in, which is remarkable. We used to have stacks of Aussies there. Adam Scott actually has a house up there.
Right.
And so does Sergio Garcia. They used to live next door to each other.
Well, they can afford it, can't they?
Yeah.
Not many can.
Some good stories of guys going to stay at Adam's house up there, years and years over there. But yes, Rodney, a tip?
I'm going to go with Fitzpatrick, but Alex. I think Matt will be tired after the Tour Championship, so why not? Go Alex. He'll have all the inside knowledge from the brother, and he'll get it done.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with Matt Fitzpatrick. I don't think Alex Fitzpatrick can even sniff low Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
Let alone win. So, but it is a big trip. But if you make a big trip like that as a top player, you're doing it you're going to play well.
He does love the place.
He loves the place.
I like
He's gearing up towards the Ryder Cup. He played well BMW week. Didn't play as good last week. No. He knows he's going to be a big part of that Ryder Cup. It's been a funny year for him,
he's not been playing particularly well, has he?
But I think he's showing up to play well.
Agree.
I do like Alex Fitzpatrick, I must say, but completely different players.
Clearly Matt Fitzpatrick is a much better chance than Alex.
Gets the Billy Foster experience at the place where he tells the greatest Billy Foster story.
Absolutely.
I had Billy Foster tell me that story at Lake Karrinyup one year.
Nice.
Just standing on the back of a tee waiting for a group when he was caddying for Lee Westwood. And Lee Westwood hadn't been interested in my conversation with him. And as soon as that conversation... So he must have heard the story 1,000 times, but over he came and he's adding his bits in and whatever. Didn't even hit the green with that shot, by the way.
No, came up short. Then he chipped it in, didn't he?
No, chipped it. And
I thought he pitched it in. Or it might have been another year who pitched in from short of the green there.
Moving along, and we go to another long-standing event on the LPGA Tour this time, actually won by Joanne Carner in its first iteration.
Third.
No, not according to what I saw.
Okay, I thought it was third.
Subject of your column this week, Rod. So who better than to tell us all about the Portland Classic?
Just on Joanne Carner, seriously, what an extraordinary... My mum is 85. Joanne Carner is 84. She shot 80 in the first round of the US Senior Women's Open. My mum wouldn't be able to walk the first hole of the US. And I know she doesn't walk the course, Joanne Carner. They give her a cart, which is as it should be. But I know scratch markers who would not break 80 on the setup they had at the US Senior Women's Open. What, 2 women at the end of the week finished under par?
Yeah.
It boggles the mind.
It was remarkable.
It really is. And look, it got a lot of mentions, but it didn't get the respect.
I was thinking about watching, I watched a little bit of it and thinking of, look at how it's different in a bunch of things, but look at how Jack Nicklaus swings the club on the first tee at Augusta each year and getting like the peg in the ground.
Yeah.
Compare that to Joanne Carner, who moves it still.
Yeah.
Like, it was so impressive.
Then reaches for a heater.
I don't know if she still smokes.
No, I don't think she does.
She was 2 years ago at the US Senior Open.
Yeah.
But I think she might have put the
Finally gave up. Apparently it's bad for you.
Yeah,
so at 82 I decided to give it away.
She wants to extend, she's got a long life ahead of her. So.
Yeah, extraordinary character. I really do think that's it. I mean, it's the 6th time shot, but each year that gets harder and harder to break your age.
Oh, yeah.
And 80 shots around a USGA set up for the Senior Women's Open.
Surely breaking your age is a very bell curve thing. You want to get a couple of years to give you more buffer, but your skills start to depreciate. It's a bit of a...
It's a real race against the clock, isn't it? Anyway, so that was that. Yeah, so this one is the Portland Classic in Oregon. Been on the schedule. It's the longest running non-major in the LPGA. Started in 1972. The most bizarre tournament preview I've ever written, 2021. They moved this tournament from the Clearwater Columbia Edgewater Country Club, where it's traditionally played, to Oregon Country Club. They moved it 3 months before the event because a homeless encampment, quote unquote, whatever that means, had set up camp next to the golf course, and they decided it wasn't safe for volunteers, players, and officials coming to the tournament. That's the most strangest reason I've ever heard for a switching venue.
Well, homeless people just can attack you at any moment.
Well, yeah, and what about the homeless problem being so bad? I remember doing a bit of research on it at the time in Oregon. The homeless problem had got so bad. These homeless encampments were springing up all over the place. It seemed to be parking lots predominantly.
Yeah.
And people would set up camp between the lines where cars just
Interesting phenomenon.
2023.
Yeah, Oregon, we've got a big issue in Oregon with it.
Well, here in Australia too, there's no shortage of homeless
America,
people in
particularly that encampment idea of camping together.
Just crazy. Anyway, so all of that. 33 times Columbia Edgewater has hosted. I think there's been about 46 tournaments or something, so they're kind of the unofficial home. Great list of winners here, as Logue pointed out. Good field there this year. 8 of the world's top 10 in the field. Annika Sorensen, Brooke Henderson twice each. Joanne Carner, as you mentioned, Kathy Whitworth, Julie Ingston, Nancy Lopez, Amy Alcott, and one of my favourite player names in history, Muffin Spencer Devlin in 1989. And one of the reasons I like Muffin Spencer Devlin so much is because I once had an instruction video that Muffin made. And Muffin was zen.
That Muffin made isn't great, outstanding.
She was zen. So he hits a shot. She demonstrates how to hits a shot. Then she gets the divot and explains why we need to care for Mother Earth as she puts it back, the strip of grass, and pats it down.
That's lovely.
It was lovely. It was terrific.
Just quickly, have you got a favourite name in golf? Because I do.
Dow Finstall.
Dow Finstall.
Yeah.
Mine's Kermit Zali.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, nice.
Carry on, Laura.
Anyway, so that was my Muffin Spencer Devlin story.
Is a relation to Bruce Devlin? I've actually never heard of her.
Seems highly unlikely. Well, how can you not heard of her? She's a tournament winner. She won this tournament in 1989.
Sorry.
Made an instruction video.
Yep. No, sorry. I never caught that.
Or low.
No, I don't know.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
But I only know her from that. I knew her from that instruction video. Now I know that she won here in 1989, so I'll carry that with me. Course is an AV McCann course, very typically northwest US style. Lots of tall pine trees. Looks like it's Christmas down the side of every fairway, which I always find, coming from Australia, I guess, it's a beautiful aesthetic. I think those.
Really fun to play golf in. The sound in those sort of places is really cool.
What sort of trees are they? Fir trees?
They're
pine trees?
A lot of firs and pines and stuff, yeah. But the sound, because they're so big, it kind of creates this sort of amphitheatre sound, I suppose. And when you hit it and there's no one else around, you get a really cool reverberation. Yeah. Wentworth has the best one.
Be no good for podcasting.
No. What does shanks sound like in that environment? What do you mean you don't know? Don't lie. You know. Yeah, so because of that, look, it's not my kind of golf course in that sense. There's a lot of gentle dog legs with greens that are slightly offset, but the trees make it a lot of aerial hazards. So if you can shape the ball both ways,
Bunkers in the sky.
Kind of bunkers in the sky, yeah, that idea. So look, if you can shape the ball both ways, that's always an advantage. Good ball strikers go well on every golf course, but particularly here. The players haven't found the scoring to be particularly taxing over time. It went to 72 holes in 2013, been double digits under par every year. 21 under is the tournament scoring record. 61 course record by Se Young Kim in 2019. So there's birdies to be had out there. It's kind of a horses for courses type venue in terms of players. Brooke Henderson won twice here. The first one, Monday qualified as a 17-year-old and then won it.
Yeah.
But she loves this type of golf. She won that women's PGA at Sahali, not far away, and very similar golf course, really tight, lots of shoots off the tees, that kind of stuff. So you'd think might be a chance this year.
She was your pick last week, I believe.
She was, and she was really struggling until Sunday.
And now she had a C. Now she's wearing glasses.
Yeah, that's right, wearing the glasses.
Yeah. What about that admission? Just I couldn't actually see that much. I was relying too much on my sister.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of adjusting.
Oh, that'd be hard as anything.
Yeah,
3 days by the look of it, because Sunday she suddenly fired.
That's right. Brendan James's great theory on Adam Scott is that he doesn't putt well when wearing sunglasses because of the slight difference.
Is that right? He's got some off-the-wall theories.
And he points out that when he won the Masters and stuff, it was dark and he had to take the sunglasses
overcast. Off. He always finds evidence. BJ's always believed that Tiger could play in the rain, could play in the wind, but if you put them both together, he was toast.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
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 Tiger doesn't like an umbrella. So
that time at Millfield.
That got blown off the golf course. 82, 84 or something.
Yeah, 84.
It's just an outrage.
Yeah.
So he comes up with interesting theories, but he's always got a snippet to bang. He's got something. He'd be a good conspiracy theorist.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll find some snippet that makes you think, maybe there is something to that.
Yeah, he says it with such conviction.
Yeah, that's
you just trust him.
And he's a big, imposing figure of a man. So
I can see him just like leaning across the table and saying,
that's right.
Back and to the left.
That's right.
Yeah.
The pies here are as good as it gets. Hannah Green's got a good record here, but Jimmy will take us through the Australian shortly. She won here in 2019, not long after winning the PGA, if I'm not mistaken.
The next year, I think.
Won the PGA, then won this a few weeks later.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. She's been a winner here. Strong field this year, as I said. Lilia Vu is in the field. Hasn't she just rocketed to the world? I didn't realise she was the world number one until this past week, which meant she got to world number. I didn't think she was close. Yeah. So there you go. That'll be good. Popular venue for first-time winners, though. 5 of the last 10. There's already been 9 top first-time winners this year.
Okay.
So who would know?
I've just got to put that into my models now.
Yeah. Do you want a couple of minutes while you do that?
Just run it through the
For all of that, aside from the usual contenders, including Jin Young Ko, who was runner-up last week, and Brooke and Hannah and all of those who you'd expect to be there, I'm going to go with Ayaka Furue. She was third here last year, and it feels
just
like
playing the
hits.
hits.
Playing the hits.
Not really. I haven't tipped her for She's been a bit off the boil the last few weeks, but I think it's time for her to return. I think this is her kind of golf course in particular. She only played it once last year, finished tied third. I think this could be her sort of course.
While Logue runs his modelling over there, the Australians is the opposite of Europe, where we've got quite a healthy contingent. Yeah. Past champion Hannah Green, as mentioned. Steph Kiriakou, Grace Kim, Sarah Kemp, Karis Davidson, and Sue O gets a chance on her reshuffle. Interestingly, Sue O and Hannah Green's rental car has had a cracked window, I think, from a golf ball this morning. So
there you go.
That's
fun sort of knowledge.
That's a sort of behind the scenes stuff that people just don't find out.
Fun little.
If only I'd have known about Rory's bad back before the start of play last week, I would have.
Yeah, well, about the broken window. Put that in the modelling. Gabby Ruffles, as I mentioned, probably missed out. Although there is a couple of holding spots still on the list. She may get one of those because she's proving very popular.
She'd be a good tournament invite.
Yeah,
and she's got a card for next year, so she's not taking the place of somebody or any of that sort of stuff.
Minjee Lee, obviously missing this week. Just, I would say, as Rod mentioned, horses for courses. Minjee's gone. Yep, not for me.
Not for me. It needs a break too. A long stretch of tournaments.
A long stretch of big events for the LPGA Tour at the moment. Steph Kiriakou is probably amongst the pick of the Aussies at the moment. Grace Kim's had a little bit of a battle for a little while, and the others are sort of lower categories. So interesting to see. Logue, what's the modelling say?
I like this player. I picked her last week, but I'm going to go again because I think she's in a...
She let you down and she needs a chance to redeem herself. She doesn't want to be on the McIntyre.
She had a few bad rounds, but then came back and almost made a top 10 in the end, and that is Nasa Hataoka. I think she's going to be back in more familiar territory this week, and she's just too good to ignore, but also she's just in good form at the moment.
Good wind player, and it gets windy here. The wind comes up the river. And
of course I accounted for that in my model.
And the wind through the trees, like that chute type
that's right.
wind, is very difficult.
The course actually does go in, that classic goes in all directions too. It's like an outer, the front nine is the outer nine, and then you go in for the back nine. And so it doesn't matter where the wind's coming from, you're going to cop it across, down into...
Rod's making circular motions with his hands at the moment.
I'm
so,
half Italian, that's what I do.
Yeah.
That's a good tip. I tied 11th last week, I think.
13th, I think, and then just finished outside the top 10.
I'm going to go with Hannah Green, who finished really well last week in Canada, started to look like her best sort of version again. Yeah. Combine that with good vibes tournament she won, really likes it. I think she got a big finish for the year, and I'm going to call it now, is going to win the Australian Open to finish her year. So there you go.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I just decided I'd come back with a bit of venom.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's far enough out that nobody's going to remember.
No, that's exactly right, and it's just close enough.
But you'll be able to get a sound bite.
That's right.
It's much better than when we used to do in the magazine predictions for the year, and in like October you had to pick the major winners. And like, please, I managed it a couple of times though. But anyway, that will do us for this week. Logue, I look forward to congratulating you on another win next week.
Go NASA.
Rod, you've been your usual pillar of regularity. I think that's
mediocrity.
Oh, I don't think it's mediocrity. I think that's quite harsh. You can keep up to date on all these tournaments and more on the Golf Australia magazine website, golfaustralia.com.au, and pick up the latest September issue of the magazine with Jordan Spieth on the cover, which included inside you'll find the fast fixes for 7 deadly swing faults. Logue needs his copy now. And you'll also find your ultimate guide to great golf weekends. We'll be back next week on Playing from the Tips.